Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Manchester United won, Chelsea won, and I will say, as a Man United fan, I'm proud of that performance. I'm disappointed to not have the victory. I'm disappointed that we didn't hold on after taking the lead. But after 18 months of abject football, to nullify one of the best attacks in the league to almost zero clean-cut chances, a good header that hit the post, and of course, a fantastic strike from, I think, what would be most people's man of the match, Caicedo. I was very proud of what Man United did today. We grew in certain areas of the pitch. I love the structure of the team. And I felt this, it's not nice for him, but I felt this at the end of Ten Hag's era that Man United could be about to embark on something quite special. And there is a long way for us to go. I am not getting carried away. But I think today is a case in point for this squad being miles better than many people give us credit for. A lot of people predicting we'd get beat up today, that we'd get hurt, we'd only get through on new manager bounce. And in fact, Chelsea started the better team. They had the better first half, and we grew. Ruud van Nistelrooy made some changes, and we performed so much better throughout the course of that second half. It wasn't a sort of piss and win performance where we came out like a ball in a china shop and scored and then hung on for dear life. There was some really good football, some excellent structure. And of course, this squad needs a big overhaul. Of course, we need to buy new players. But I can look at that performance and say, I am proud. Maswari at left back today was an absolute powerhouse. De Ligt, again, I thought he was phenomenal for us. Lisandro Martinez as well. This player will perform in a very, very good system. Casemiro with an excellent game as well. And look, not everybody was brilliant. There was hit and miss from Bruno, some great touches and passes. But as a collective team, I was very, very happy today. On Chelsea, look, you all know my thoughts on them. I spoke about them so much in the summer about how I felt Chelsea would become title contenders this year. Either in this particular season or by the end of it, the consensus in football would be this Chelsea side looks good. This Chelsea side looks special. This Chelsea side could get back to the very top. I was nervous about playing them today. Yes, I predicted a Man United win. A little bit of bias in there, a little bit of excitement in there. But the one thing I was scared of was their attack. Madueke, Pedro Neto, Jackson, who's been on a renaissance of a season from him. Cole Palmer, one of the very best players in the world right now. And I'll say this, barring a screamer from the man of the match, Caicedo, who had, by the way, an absolutely phenomenal football match. Some of the tackles, some of the times he broke up play where Man United were going to be in, where we broke the lines of Chelsea, he was phenomenal. Barring that screamer, though, to not have this amazing Chelsea team create an abundance of chances against us, when we have leaked chances to everybody, relegation fodder, League Two fodder, and everything else in between, I'm very, very proud. But this Chelsea team, look, I think United earned their respect today. I think Man United showed them that, yes, you guys are having your bounce. You guys are on the way back up. But trust us, when we get the structure in place, when we get the new manager in place, or head coach, I should say, we are going to be going toe-to-toe with you boys again. This doesn't, I think, define Chelsea's season. I think some Chelsea fans might be disappointed with a draw. But you played a very good Man United team today, the same as we played a very good Chelsea team today. And yes, you can point out moments where, this player gave the ball away and there was a mistake here. I understand that. Like the penalty that Chelsea conceded. Fofana gets a little bit caught under the ball. And then Sanchez, he has his bozo moment again. But these are very easy areas for Chelsea to fix. You just buy better. The system and the structure is there for you to develop and grow from. So look, as a United fan watching, I'm disappointed not to win. But I looked at the performance and I'm smiling. I can see a future. I can see a bright future for Man United again, and there's going to be many trials and many tribulations along the way. But I, for one, am very, very happy indeed. I want to get your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions in the comment sections below. We're going to go to your super chats as well, because we are back in the studio today with man like Javern. Javern's on the controls. It's been a long time. We're very, very happy and proud to have him back here with us. I'm also joined in the studio as well by Dan, who's a Chelsea fan, and my brother KJ are here. How are you, gentlemen?
I'm good. I don't know about you, Dan, but I told you, we spoke before the game, and you're like, surely Man United must win this. And I said, no, I'm cool. Man United ain't got the pressure. It's you, man, have the pressure. And so I'm good. I don't know about you. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right. A draw is okay. I wanted to win at Old Trafford for the first time in ages, and we obviously didn't manage to do it. But when you see Manchester United growing into the game as they did in the second half, I think to come away with a draw is a respectable point for Chelsea at the end of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. And a lot of people, this is the new studio. I know right now it's still looking very basic. We are going to be, getting TV screens up. We're going to decorate it. But we've only just got in here. We've had some other things that I'm on that camera now, aren't I? So yes, it'll be getting bigger and better, more cameras, everything coming very, very soon. But we just wanted to get back in here, get the feel for
new table.
I think you're going to see on the wide screen, custom made for us as well, which we'll get up on the screen for you now. We've got some lights that are going to go into it. Yeah, we're happy. We're excited about the direction this is going in. We really, really are. But I want to thank you, the viewers, for making that possible. Before we get into the game, though, a lot of people a lot of super chats here I can see talking about Martinez should have got a red. Staffy here says that Martinez should have got a red right at the end. He could have done. He absolutely could have done. I would say this. Lucky boy. You could see that he clips the knee. I'm not too sure why VAR didn't give it. What I will say is that would it have changed the outcome of the game? Probably not that late, but he's a very, very lucky boy. We actually had it up on the phone at that point, so I want to see it back on the big screen. But I do agree. I think he was very, very lucky to get away with that. But Dan, I want to go to you first. As a Chelsea fan, what did you make of your team performance? And did Man United shock you or impress you with what they did today?
Manchester United impressed me. I have to say they were better than what I thought they were going to be. And I think they were better than the Manchester United team that we saw midweek. I think you're a level above the team performed against Leicester, because we said before the game that there could be opportunities for Chelsea cutting through Manchester United's defence. In second half, that was pretty much nullified. So I think Leicester showed that there was vulnerabilities midweek. They were gone by the end of 90 minutes today for United. So I have to say that I was more impressed with Manchester United than I expected to be sat here right now. But massive for Chelsea to not take full advantage of a Manchester United side that we know aren't full of quality, have quality, but a Chelsea side that have been so good in attack this season. To be nullified like that in a game that wasn't against the low block is slightly frustrating for me, because I think where Chelsea have been best is in a game that's been open and been a bit of a basketball game, as Maresca's referred to. And in a game like that, we've not had enough chance. Like our strikers barely had the ball, from what I can remember. It's
quite interesting to watch, because we all know Chelsea are better. I would say Chelsea are better right now. And I know people are like, but new manager bounce, Ruud, the feeling, the 5-2 win. But really and truly, if you want to show the levels that Chelsea want to be, these are the games. You'd be like, we don't care about new manager bounce. We don't care whatever's happened at your club. Our club is better than yours. And to see your players freeze in many moments, we saw Cole Palmer not unsure of what to do sometimes when he's in a good spot. Same with Neto, Madueke, and Jackson. The occasion got to them, which I was surprised about, because Maresca, he's got him trained to actually, occasions don't really matter to him. So yeah, like overall, I think it was an even game. I think both teams can come out of it saying maybe we should have won. Like both teams hit the crossbar, both teams had good performances. But as a child, if you're looking from a Chelsea perspective, that's not a good draw in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion. It isn't. It isn't.
It isn't. I think it is and it isn't. I think that the problem that you've got is if they would have played Man United under Ten Hag, they'd batter us.
Yeah.
If this game happened a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I think Chelsea batter Man United. I don't think we'd have the defensive structure. And there was a comment I was actually looking for to put up on the screen. I can't find it now, but it basically says that Chelsea's front line was poor. But from my point of view, I sort of look at it from the perspective of, so does it sound all right? People are saying, you know what you should do with the mics? Just turn them almost up full blast. That's what I tend to do with that. Just turn them up almost full blast. Right near the top is where I normally have it. And they should be able to hear him better. All three of them right up near the top. Just put, right up near the top. Yeah, do that and see what they say. That's how I have it when I stream by myself. So I'm sure it'll be okay when I do it that way around. But yeah, look, I think that if it was a couple of weeks ago, absolutely, Chelsea would have smashed us. Yeah. I think Man United's squad has been so underrated by the media, by rivals. Of course, no one thinks it's a 14th place team, but it's definitely a squad that is very competitive inside the top 6, top 7, top 8 sides are around right now. And what we had today was basic. We had a good, solid structure, a 4-4-2 out of possession. We allowed for very little space. the fact that he had a few good touches and moments, but the fact that we nullified, for me, the best player in the last 12 months in the Premier League, Cole Palmer, I was very impressed. So I understand that Chelsea fans will feel disappointed with not winning, but this is the problem. You're playing Man United away from home, who have some very good players, who had a very good structure today. And I think both teams, for large parts of the game, nullified each other. And that typically is a sign of a good team. Now, as a United fan, we can look at, like, Garnacho missed some opportunities today, before we went 1-0 up. And that's something to criticize. Like, his finishing has to get better, as an example. There's no doubt about it. He had that one where Bruno, just the way Bruno delayed his run, dragged it back to him. He should be testing the goalkeeper there. Towards the end, he actually had a really good shot that narrowly went over. So we had those moments in the game. But that's what I was most proud of. We stopped Chelsea having those moments. And a lot of people will say Man United bottled the lead. For me, that was a screamer from a volley that you can do very little about, in my opinion. The clearance was okay. And that was all they really had, especially in that second half. So I get why Chelsea fans would be disappointed, but I think you're always disappointed when your team drop points. But I think you'd only be deeply disappointed if you came into this game really believing that this Man United team and squad was arse, if you thought this team was rubbish. I think if you were objective and you're honest, this was always going to be a tough game as soon as we had someone coaching as well. And it's only been a week, but it doesn't take long to get a team into a drilled system that's hard to break down, and then you grow from that position.
Yeah, it's really is that simple. And listen, I'm not saying Man United should not have appointed Ruud Amorim, but all I'm gonna say is, Ruud, you look like you belong in that touchline. Like, just having a manager on the side, caretaker or not, who looks like he belongs on that side, he's giving instructions to the players, and the players are listening. You can clearly tell the players respect Ruud and they're listening to Ruud, because the performance that we had today, we would have never seen on the Ten Hag. And if it was a flash in the pan. It was a one shot done kind of thing. So if you look at the just look at Manuel Ugarte and Casemiro, when we was getting broke on, when the press was broken by Chelsea, which they did a couple of times very well, they were still there in position. Under Erik ten Hag, they would have been up there with the attackers, then the press gone by them, and it's 4v4. But we actually had men in the right positions, and they worked hard to get into the right spots, and we nullified the counter-attack most of the time.
No, I get it. And look, I think some Chelsea fans will be frustrated hearing that when you sit there and give Man United praise. But the problem is, for a lot of rivals, is they're not used to Man United getting praise. And some will say don't get carried away with what's going on at the club. I'm not getting carried away, but I have absolute belief that over the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see Man United grow and get somewhere back to the top of the English and European game. We're putting the structure in place. We're going to continue to spend on our squad. And we're actually hiring a head coach for the first time instead of trying to go down this stupid manager route. And, we've shown today, imagine this Man United team over the last 2 years have been well drilled consistently. Imagine how much better this squad can be that we all know has got massive holes in it. Look, we're going to go to some of your super chats before bringing out some callers. We've got Sunshine, we've got David, we've got Canadian Cam, we've got Michael Griggs, all coming on to have their say on the show as well. This here from Staffy. Staffy says, Garnacho is absolute trash. Better. Oh, no, that's actually Don Staffy's biggest fan. Sorry, it isn't actually Staffy. Garnacho is absolute trash. Better than Leao. Mad.
Okay, listen, he's not absolute trash. What he is, he's young. He may be rash, quote, excuse the pun with Rashford and that, but he is a player who's young and he just wants to keep going. And the reason why I think he can make it at the top level, because he does keep going. It's not like he had a couple of shots and then just stopped and he didn't see him for the rest of the game. He was dangerous. He was in these positions, and we need a coach to come and guide him and when to shoot, when to pass, how much power, to guide him through that process, because the last 2 years hasn't been coaching from Ten Hag. It's been, you are raw, go and do what you can do.
Yes.
And he needs guidance, and this is why I'm excited for him.
Garnacho has to be criticised for his misses today. There's no doubt about it. However, I'm excited about what it could become in the right structure, in the right system, with the right coach, because you said it, Dan, that his movement to find the space is arguably harder than the finishing sometimes.
Yeah. And I think that's probably where your manager is finding belief to leave him on the pitch when he's taken the likes of Rashford off in that game. He still knew that Garnacho would work himself into an opportunity. Yeah. And right at the very end, he got one. So it just shows he doesn't stop. He finds himself in the right positions. I think to call him trash is ludicrous. I think, honestly, we'll see the development of Garnacho over a few years. He's still so young, and he is incredibly raw, and he hit the nail on the head. But he hasn't been coached in the right way. He's been left to his own devices and been expected of, which is, for me, the worst you can do with a young player, because they need some sort of education at the same time as being raw and naive on the pitch. And that's when you get the best out of them.
This here from Chelsea FC, he says, Maresca is good for nothing. He has undone all attacking displays done second part of the season. Sanchez has to plays a part in the goals conceded this season. So really having a go at Maresca, talking about Maresca was the problem today. Do you agree with that, Dan?
Yes and no. I've said it in the past with games against tougher teams, is that Maresca can't go on the pitch and control what happens. At the end of the day, Chelsea didn't have clear-cut opportunities or enough of them to win that game of football. When I think back to Manchester United having opportunities, they work them from creative passes or from breaking over the top of Chelsea often. And whenever Chelsea had their chances, it was normally a bit of luck. Like the one comes out on the second ball from the corner and we score from it. But actually in open play, I think of Pedro Neto having a couple of chances in the second half. There's the one from the corner for Madueke early on. But nothing really sticks in my mind of Chelsea actually managing to create something with a little bit of quality on the pitch. Because you can't deny it. We were playing through the press very well in the first half, and that's ultimately one of Maresca's biggest ideologies.
Wild question though is, where was the subs? To change the game. Like, we didn't see. Did we see Nkunku? Did we see Felix? Or did we see any? We saw Mudryk, but we know what Mudryk is. So
I'll tell you why we didn't see him, because of how poor they were midweek. I think that's why. I think Maresca, honestly, I think he's lost a little bit of trust in João Felix and Nkunku to be relied upon. You know, if he turned around to the board after that Newcastle game and said, my replacements aren't good enough, I need something else, this is why we should have got Osimhen in the summer, I wouldn't have been surprised. Because for us, in the way that we performed against Newcastle, they were woeful, to be honest with you. And Nkunku didn't have a good game. So how can Maresca turn to his bench and rely on Nkunku to come on when he's just had that performance against Newcastle? He can't. He'd probably rather trust Jackson, who's in good form.
Yeah, I hear that as well. And I get why Chelsea fans are focusing upon your manager. But I also think as well, Man United played really well. We adapted. And we were talking about this while we were watching the game. A number of times when you did pass through a line and break, our two sitting midfielders were very regularly close together. Again, when Ten Hag was here, it was Ten Hag's island. It was with one of them left by themselves. Very easy to play through, very easy to expose. And Man United addressed that. And I think what was interesting today is that there wasn't really an answer Chelsea had. And I don't think you can. Chelsea fans will blame their manager. I just think what you actually should be looking at here is Man United did a very good job of nullifying Chelsea. And so I'm not going to criticize Chelsea too much. I was really impressed with what we did. There's a comment here from Moose Wizard who says, very disappointing performance from Chelsea. We had a chance to gain 3 points at all of the top. We had a chance to gain 3 points on all the top teams. That loss, and we shit the bed. Again, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you did shit the bed. I think Man United were very, very good today, in my personal opinion. This year said, it doesn't matter if we won, lost, or drew. The ref was horrible today. I think the ref did have a bad game today. We were saying that a lot, didn't we? There was some weird, they gave an offside and stopped the attack when it looked very marginal. There were some soft fouls that were given.
Yeah. And I think there's some questionable ones, obviously, from Man United's fans' perspective, where it looked like he fouled to United, and then for some reason he gives it to Chelsea. You're just like, what's going on? But overall, he didn't ruin the game. Like, we go enough, and he did that brilliant spot with Jackson's tackle on. No, not Jackson. Was it Jackson? Someone did a tackle on Rasmus, and it looked like a foul.
It was Caicedo.
Caicedo.
Great
bit of guesswork.
But we saw, when you see the ref's angle, it looked like he guessed, but it was a great tackle from
I think
Caicedo.
the one the refs that's going to be spoken about is the red card towards the end of the game. But I think that happened so late, it has so little effect on the outcome of the match.
Even though that is the case, we should really still be.
I wouldn't blame the referee for that one, though. I'd blame VAR. Because if you look at this is the only thing I would say about it. Now, I'm not defending it. I'm playing devil's advocate. Super slow-mo and focusing shows that a stud scraped the knee.
Yeah.
Now, if the referee has said, I didn't see him touch the knee, and it's that minuscule, does it meet the threshold for clear and obvious error? Now, again, I'm only throwing that out there. The referee, I can understand why he missed it in real time. I'd love to hear VAR's explanation as to why that didn't meet the threshold. Because if I'm being honest, if that was a Chelsea player and they did that to my player, I would want a red card. So I understand the calls, but I would love to hear their breakdown. I bet what they say is it didn't meet the threshold. But again, should there be a threshold, or should it be the right decision that's made? I mean, that's the debate we've had for so long when it comes to VAR. This here says a worst performance from Chelsea this season, considering the level of opposition. Any explanation as to why thugs in football get away without red cards? I mean, would you say it's Chelsea's worst performance this season today?
No, I wouldn't. I think we had a worse performance against Bournemouth. Although Bournemouth have proven to be tricky opponents for a couple of sides further up the table than Chelsea, I think as that performance goes, to go to Old Trafford, a place that we haven't managed to win, we still haven't. We lost that game 2-1 last year. We've drawn it this year. Now, Manchester United are obviously in a different place, but on the back of a new manager bounce and obviously a very refreshed Manchester United team. And you can see in the second half that you probably grew into that game more as it went on. For us to come away with a point there and to react in the way that we did, I think that tells me that isn't Chelsea's worst performance, because I saw last season us go behind and Chelsea disappear from games or drop off onto a losing run. You know, we fought back into that game. We've kept our heads high and made sure we were in that game at the end of 90 minutes.
I made a little bit of a mistake earlier. I said that Chelsea didn't really create any chances. You didn't create a chance. There was an unfortunate slip from De Ligt.
Yep.
And it led to the £105 million man having an opportunity to score and break down that opportunity for Enzo. I mean, you should really be capitalising on that chance. United were flawless at the back most of the game. The one time we did make a mistake and it falls to the big man and he fluffed his lines again.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was trying to do with that effort, to be completely honest with you. I tried to work out if he's tried to chip the keeper. I tried to work out if he was trying to wrap his foot around it. And I think ultimately he's confused himself. And he's ended up hitting the ball.
I think he's got a lot going on in his life to be thinking about in that moment as well. You know what I mean?
I read about that divorce. What I've read, and I'm only going by what I've seen on a couple of outlets, is that it's him who's initiated it because he feels too young to be tied down and married and he wants to go out and live his life, right? So therefore, I'm not accepting that as his life's in turmoil. That doesn't sound like somebody who's come home and caught. You know, this isn't like a Ryan and Rodri Giggs situation where he's, oh my God, like he's found out his brother's sleeping with his missus or his missus has run off with another man. But what I've read, and if I'm wrong, send me the links to the other stories, is that he has left his young wife and children to live the life of Riley. So I'm not buying into this. Oh, give him a break.
Hey, regret does a mad thing to your mind. Maybe he's going through it. Maybe like, oh crap, did I make the right decision? Oh wait, I'm playing football at the same time.
Do you know what? It's hard to say, and without knowing him personally, I'm not sure. But when a player as young as him is making comments like that after achieving, obviously he's won the World Cup and done something massively, but in his own personal career as a player, he's been left doubted for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Is that the right thing to do? You shouldn't be setting that example. You should be saying, I'm actually vice captain of Chelsea. I'm here to be a leader. I'm here to be a professional.
Look, I view it this way. I've always felt football players, and maybe this is just the way I view the world, all get far too many get settled down, married, have children too young. Some of them are 21 with a couple of kids married, and I just think that's really when you should be living your life. But once you've done it, look, I can't, listen, I'm someone who's gone through a divorce, right? So I'm not going to sit here and say you shouldn't ever get divorced. But I'm going by the rationale of what I heard the reasons were. I'm thinking, bruv, like, I wouldn't let that come out, man. Like, I wouldn't be telling everybody so that you can date other people because you feel bored.
This is the thing, that's happened, and because he's missed a big chance, we're chatting about it. Like, it's one of those ones where it's like,
though, but is his head in the right place?
But this is the thing, like, his performance has now led us.
Well, I had a lot of Chelsea fans say to me, they were concerned, like, Terry, I think everyone should give him a break because of what he's going through. He's going to be feeling really sad. And I agree, going for a breakup is a horrible thing for anyone. But then when I've read that he initiated it because basically there's a lot of people in his DMs and he wants to date some of them, I'm sorry, that's not an excuse for not performing well or being criticised, in my very, very humble opinion. Thank you, Luke Skywalker, for asking everybody to hit the like button. If you haven't done that yet, get it done right now for us. This super chat here, Mazwari will cook under Amarin at wingback.
Ooh, people need to understand the levels of this guy. People were trying to tell me he's not that good. or he's rubbish. He's a Bayern reject. He's just going to be injury prone. He's not. The guy is levels, people. The guy is so good, technically sound, defensively sound. Today, what he did, that little flick to Bruno Fernandes while under pressure, the amount of times he had the ball in tight spaces, keeps the ball and ends up giving it to a Man United player. The amount of times where you had Madueke 1v1, you're like, oh, crap, he's going to get cooked. Man stood tall, got the tackle in, and plays the ball off. People need to stop doubting this guy. Him and De Ligt, there's too much disrespect on their names. There have been Man United's 2 best defenders this season. They've not put a foot wrong. So people need to relax on them and just enjoy the beauty that is Mazraoui and De Ligt.
Yeah. Javon, a few people are saying that the sound sounds a little bit bad. I think they might be trolling, but could we just check it? And
I'm always constantly...
I know you are. I just wanted to double check. But viewers, if you can hear it through, okay, that'd be great. We're going to start bringing out some of the panelists. We're not going to panel in a traditional sense for these big games. They're going to come through and give us their say one by one. But it is the usual suspects, as you all know. But of course, show them some love when they come on. First up on the show today, we are going to speak to David, obviously big Chelsea fan. David, welcome back to the terrace. Oh yeah, you have to move yourself into the middle, so or move your camera around. What did you make of today from a Chelsea point of view, mate?
I think it was one of our worst games, to be honest. I just thought we got into the final third really well, and then we just made really poor decisions in the final third. Hence why we didn't create as many chances as we normally do. But that, again, partly that is United playing well, but partly I felt like some of the players just didn't show up today, if I'm going to be very honest. But, looking at the positives, last year we would have gone 1-0 down and lost that game. We got a point out of it. And it's Old Trafford, and we haven't won there in 10, 11 years. So, God, this team's growing, and the improvement isn't linear. So to have down moments like this and still get a point out of the game, I think is still pretty respectable. Plus, United actually played really well. I have to give it to them. United actually just played very, very well today. Didn't let themselves get isolated in points, which I thought was going to be a massive thing. Thought Neto and Madueke, especially if you leave your fullbacks isolated, would get past them. But they just, it was a struggle today. But, it's a good game. It's for people to think that we were just going to show up to Old Trafford and win 4-0. I think is ludicrous, because Chelsea finished 12th in a season, and we'd still beat like a Man City or a Liverpool. So I never go into a Big Six game going, we're going to win 4-0, 5-0 because I think it's a thing. But
Now, listen, I hear you on that. I sort of felt as though I think people were really writing Man United off, like we weren't capable of putting in a good performance today. And, with Garnacho had his shooting boots on today, I think we would have walked away the winners and we would have deserved it. But as I said earlier, I don't think this is... You can look at individual moments like Sanchez in goal as an example, or Fofana that sort of getting the height of the ball wrong for the header in that process and go, that was a mistake. But generally today, I don't think this was about Chelsea's players being poor. I think Man United's players up their levels and stopped you. So I think it's one of those things where you can be disappointed you didn't do better, but I don't think there's any overarching statements to be made negatively about Chelsea, if that makes sense.
No, I think the system is there. I think it's just individuals. I mean, Sanchez, again, has cost us 3 points. Fofana just needs to track the ball in the air. Mudryk came on and did absolutely nothing. Enzo came on and did absolutely nothing and missed a sitter. Caicedo is probably one of the only people who can walk out of that game with his head held high, because he was fantastic. He was unbelievable today. Jackson didn't really do much. There were just so many players who I thought would have had a better game than they did, and they just didn't show up. But again, that's part and parcel of going to Old Trafford, and it's an away game, but also Man United playing well. So it's one of those things. We got Arsenal next week at home, and I'm sure Arsenal will have a very similar thing where they'll come to Stamford Bridge, and it'll be a bit more of a struggle than I think people will think it will be, because for some reason people just seem to forget that football's not played on paper, and it's not as simple as, we're better than them, we win. That's not how it works.
No, listen, I totally understand. I'm going to bring some of the other gents out here as well now to have their say as well. I get where you're coming from, and I think that, as you say, there's tribalism that kicked itself into this as well, and you sort of have this situation where some people are just annoyed that... You saw a lot of it last week. I can't believe we have to play Man United, the first Premier League team after it. I think that was the indication they knew that this game could go this way. and there's just a bit of rather than some people just can't. I think Don, what did Don tweet during the game? That we should be smashing Man United because they're absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Again, that is pure nonsense in my opinion. We all know that we've got to improve the squad. We know that we've got to get better players. But the idea that Chelsea should have been smashing us today because we're absolutely awful, I just think that's a Don-lusional take, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think if Ten Hag was in charge today, I think we would have won that very comfortably. But like Chelsea fans of all clubs should know, when you sack a manager, you probably get a response in some way. We are the club that's done it the most in my lifetime, so we should know. So it doesn't shock me. But anyway, I've got to go.
I agree. Canadian Cam's here with us. What are you saying, mate?
What's going on? Yeah, your sound's a bit off, by the way. It is. Just a bit.
So when you say sounds off, what does that mean?
So it sounds like, and maybe I'm wrong.
Have you got the echo cancellation set off on the sound set?
It's either echo or there's
okay, we've got the sound. Okay, cool. That makes it. As long as that's
all.
That's cool. That's cool.
Just
Sorry,
giving you
go
a heads up. So good game from us. If we deep it, I honestly I heard all week. I watched a lot of your shows. I watched a lot of different shows. I watched most shows, everybody, because I was curious what everybody would say about this game all week. And I don't know everybody's names, but the straight facts guys. Chelsea's miles ahead. Everybody, Chelsea, miles ahead of United, miles ahead. Everybody used that phrase. If that team's miles ahead of us, then I'm excited for our future because realistically, we showed up and we played a decent enough game. We weren't perfect, but we had the better chances throughout. I was happy with Rashford's performance, to be completely honest. I think he was our best attacker by far. I don't like that he came off. I understand the thinking of like, well, Garnacho's getting into right spaces, but he should have came off, in my opinion, because he squandered too many chances. And realistically, if you squander that many chances against good sides, you're going to lose games. Luckily, we didn't lose this one. Lit, for me, was our man of the match. I thought he was immense. I think, like you said, he kept Cole Palmer at bay. Every time it was him versus Cole Palmer, he won, which that's all you can ask for, realistically, when you have a player that's in form like that and everybody talking about the Dutch Maguire, whatever. That's not what he looked like today. He was great. Maguire was awesome. Really looked great down the channels. There's a few times where I got really upset with Garnacho not playing overlaps. That can't happen when Emeram comes in. I do think midfield-wise, we obviously miss Manu a lot. Ugarte had a lot of misplaced passes. I'm not going to give him any out there. He had a lot of misplaced passes. Casemiro was on top of his game. It would have been really good to see what we would have looked like with a little bit more control in the midfield when it came to our midfield. I thought Bruno was fine. I wasn't amazing, wasn't off. I just think he had a fine game. I think he did what he does. And Onana was Onana. Like he's continuously been getting better and better and better. Nobody talks about it. A lot of those crosses that he came and claimed, a lot of things he did today. Even the clearances, he made one bad pass to Casemiro, but outside of that, I think he had a great game again. So all in all, I think we looked a lot better than we have in the past. And I think what we've been saying as fans is our team is not as bad as everybody thinks it is. It's just how we were coached. Truthfully, when you look at how the team played today, the players, player for player, were, for me, they showed what they could potentially be. Yes, we still need some more quality up front. And we still need a bit more control in the midfield, but we're not this team that everyone's saying was going to lose 4-0 or whatever. We were going to get smashed. A lot of things said, which is crazy because we haven't lost to Chelsea at Old Trafford, and I think we both can say at this point, maybe 14 years or something crazy.
11 years, I think it is. 11 years.
Yeah, like I was still like I don't even know what I was at that point, but it's like people to be saying that, it just shows the biasness. Obviously, I don't see Don or Chez anywhere. I haven't seen them in the chat, obviously. So I'm going to just call those two out for always talking a whole bunch of trash and just never showing up when their team's trash. Like Chelsea didn't have a good game. Show up. I think Caicedo was unbelievable. And I'm very, very happy he didn't go to Liverpool. Because if he went to Liverpool, my God.
Caicedo, I thought Caicedo and Lavia, I think both had phenomenally good games today for Chelsea, to be honest. We're going to get onto man of the match a little bit later in the show. And yeah, they were just, listen, it's not even a dig at Enzo Fernandez. When they're all fit, he shouldn't be touching that pitch. He shouldn't be touching that pitch at all. They have everything. They have the defensive acumen. They have the physicality for the Premier League, and they have wonderful technical ability. And again, if if the midfield two were not as strong for Chelsea today, 100% I think Man United win that game. I really do. I do think so. And that's a big shout out to Chelsea. That midfield with Palmer as well ahead of it, that midfield's going places. In the next couple of years when that develops, it genuinely could become the best midfield in the world. It's good enough to become the best midfield in the world. It's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for me. I thought we had a great game. I wanted to show up regardless. I got to head out. But I'm looking forward to seeing what Emery's going to do with this team. Truthfully, I think my hopes are we can win the Europa League. That's my hope. It's always been, even with Erik ten Hag. That was my one goal. I don't care where we finish in the league. It really doesn't matter to me this year. I'm not going to call 6th, 7th, 8th, 4th, whatever. I don't care. Just go and win the Europa League and get us a trophy this year, and let's move into next year and see what we can do. Anyway.
I hear you, Cam. Top man. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Viewers, keep hitting the like button and make sure you are subscribing to the Terrace. Andrew, Winter Surfer, from a Chelsea fan's point of view, some Chelsea fans seemingly okay with the draw today, some others fuming at the performance. How do you personally see it, mate?
Well, I thought for both sides, I thought that was one of the worst games this season. I thought it lacked quality. Don't think any goalkeepers coming out on top. Everyone had chances. They were straight at the goalkeeper or away. Both teams were on this. Let's start playing the ball. Let's stop the ball. Let's look at everything. Let's stop momentum. I thought it was bad from both sides. I thought it was a low quality game. Terry, I don't know what you're watching, but Man United were just as bad as Chelsea today. It was a terrible game of football for advertisement for the Premier League. Absolutely shocking game of football. It looked like two teams were in the bottom half of the table, both sides. It was trash football today from both managers and both teams and both sets of players. Horrible, horrible game of football. Absolutely stunk. This fixture used to be a pinnacle of the Premier League. And for the past 7 or 8 years, it's been one of the worst fixtures either at Stamford Bridge or Old Trafford. Absolutely bog standard. I'm disappointed in the way we played. For the first time this season, I'm unsure about what the actual game plan was for Chelsea today. I'm unsure. We seemed too tentative. I don't know why. We didn't seem to, when we got near the box, we either seemed to cross it into Jackson by himself, or we stopped, looked around again and turned backwards. Absolutely shocking game of football from both sides. Rubbish game today for the Premier League. Rubbish.
I politely disagree. I think there's definitely areas that you could say were low quality. Garnacho's finishing was low quality, but I don't think the play to create those opportunities was bad. I think that with Chelsea, so again, I think you tried to do the right things. There was times where you broke through maybe the first line into the midfield, but then Man United got back in shape and your crosses were cut out or the tackles were made. And I actually think that I viewed it, and again, we were watching it here together and we're looking at it. And yeah, there were moments of frustration, there's no doubt. And I'm not saying every element of the football was perfect, but from a Man United point of view, to actually see my team play with a shape. Our biggest issue in the last 2 years has been that we didn't have a shape, that we were so easy to play through, that our midfield was open. I am happy that that's been addressed. As I said at the beginning, though.
It wasn't addressed. We played through for the first half. It wasn't addressed. You played like an Erik ten Hag team.
That's not absolute nonsense, Andrew.
We played through you all the time. In the first half.
We go playing a ball that breaks a line, but then the team getting back into shape and nullifying the attack is not what I consider being played through. Being played through is where you're passing the ball through us or running the ball through us and creating chance after chance after chance. And you had one header from a corner that hit the post. Outside of that, where were you playing through Man United and creating all these chances? Where was that happening?
Like I said, it's been said to you a couple of times. We got to the box and we didn't do anything.
I agree.
We didn't do anything. Terry, I don't know what you're watching. Seriously, Terry. That was not a good performance.
Hang on. Answer the question. Why didn't you do anything?
Because we stopped.
Why?
Or we crossed it into the box when no one was there.
Why?
Or Jackson was by himself. Because no one else was getting into the box. No one else was getting into the box.
Okay, so
United defended way better. We were solid when we got back. We defended so much better. That's why you didn't make it through. But in terms of breaking the midfield lines, in terms of getting into the area, you were doing that the whole game. And I think it's absolutely I mean, I don't know if you finished what you want to say yet, Steve. 'Cause I'm fuming, bro. I can't even lie. I'm
Go
with you.
ahead.
Like, I don't understand the simple fact we get a manager change or manager bounce, and all of a sudden we're glorifying chances that we're having, but we're not taking them, and we've got this patience again. Where's this come from? Sorry, it's because we've got Ruud in the stands. So sorry, wasn't Garnacho playing against West Ham and everyone screaming for him to come off because he was shit, wasn't taking chances, but now all of a sudden, no, it's okay to keep him on. Like, where's it? Why is the hypocrisy happening again? Because we changed. This is why I said I'm United FC. I'm not manager FC.
Sorry, Sunshine. Sorry to interject.
Yeah.
But we've criticised Garnacho's finishing. The difference here, why there's a difference?
I'm not saying that. And that's
where the energy is different is that what we're talking about is that the base of our performance today, the shape that we had, some of the individual performances and the way that we weren't run through. Like, listen, we have played teams that got relegated who have cut through us like a hot knife through butter and peppered our goal. You know, we were in the last year, we've been averaging 27 shots on our goal per game. Okay, sorry, 24 shots on our goal per game. So where we're happy is that a lot of that was nullified today. But equally, we have said loads of work needs to be done, huge improvement still needed. The squad needs to grow. The reason why we were so upset under Ten Hag so regularly is because there wasn't even a shape to start a foundation from, to grow from within. It was just an absolute mess from top to bottom. I wouldn't call Man United performance today a mess as a team. Individuals missed chances, there's no doubt. But if Garnacho scores 2 of his chances, the rest of the performance is still there, isn't it? And we're going crazy celebrating.
How consistent do I have to be? Regardless of system and style of play, we don't win the game. Like, when do we get to a situation that not putting the ball in the back of the net is the priority? When is that going to be the priority? Someone tell me on the stream, when I'm going to turn up on stream, I have to sit and talk about my team putting the ball in the net. Because respectfully, I appreciate the fact that we were defensively much better. We nullified Chelsea. I respected that. And again, we all love stats, don't we? No one would have thought that Man United's clean sheets in the Premier League was 11 before this game. So goals conceded was 11. Same as Arsenal, same as Man City. No stress. So it hasn't been that shit, has it? Let's be honest. Defensively, we've not been that shit. If those are the type of stats that we're matching with. But then on the other end, Chris Wood's on 8 goals in the Premier League and we're on 9. We're sit third out of, we're bottom 3 out of 20 teams for most goals scored. So how am I sitting here glorifying Garnacho well, in one moment to say that, oh, he's doing the chances he's doing well?
Who's glorifying Garnacho? Who's glorifying Garnacho?
Ruud van
Who glorified Garnacho?
Say again?
Who glorified Garnacho on this show?
Okay, when I say glorify, I'll use my terms a little bit better. We're letting him get away with it because we're sitting here. Well, I've heard it on the panel when you came on. You were saying, not saying who it was specifically. You're saying he's young, he needs coaching, we need this. I'm sorry, you need coaching to wrap your foot around the ball 6 yards out of the box, bro. You need coaching for that. But when it was against West Ham, hold up. When it was against West Ham, no one was sitting here saying Garnacho needs coaching to wrap his foot. It was all Ten Hag. The same shit's happening regardless.
Bro, you missed the
not finishing his dinner. Get him off the pitch.
Someone called him trash, like outright trash.
I'm not saying he's trash, bro. But what I'm saying is,
that's the point. Bro, listen, calm down. Listen, 2 seconds. The reason why I said it, the reason why I mentioned the coaching and he's not getting help is because someone called him outright trash in general. I wasn't talking about the game today. I was talking about his development as a whole as a player. That's 2 different contexts. If you want to talk about today, I even said when he missed one of the chances, get him off. I said get him off. I wanted to get subbed.
All I can say is this. I have not heard anybody on here. Listen, I said his movement was great, but he's got to be finishing those chances. We literally criticised his finishing today.
Sorry, but you're missing the point. My issue is the manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy, is getting no slack for it because he should have taken my man off. And then against West Ham...
But hang on. No one's... For me personally... I'm not going to spend that much time focusing on the good, the bad, and the ugly of a manager that's got 2 more games and then gone. Why would I do that?
I'm not upset to say that, oh, he's in charge. I'm saying objective. You said, let's be honest and objective. I'm seeing double standards. I'm seeing the same things happen. Okay, well, let me explain. Okay, challenge what I'm saying now. You can challenge what I'm saying. I'll tell you what I've seen where there's double standards, and then we can challenge it. Because we have the same amount of time on the show. We have the same amount of conversations on the show. We've seen West Ham recently, the game. We've seen the same things happen in this game. The notion, the narrative that started it was nothing was to do with the manager first and foremost. Again today, we haven't mentioned his poor decision making in those areas because we're trying to win a game here. I don't know about you, but I wanted to slap Chelsea today. So for me, I've got to look at the manager as well and go, bro, why are you keeping my man on when he's literally missing cities against West Ham and Chelsea?
And that's fair for you to throw that criticism. I don't care. My issue here isn't what you didn't like about the game. My issue is that you've come on here telling us that we're glorifying a player that we have criticized and said should do better. But let me tell you why my energy is different.
I wasn't glorifying the player into that state to say, oh, you've gassed him up to levels, but you've literally not given the criticism to the same level as you would have against West Ham. It's two different ways of criticizing.
Okay, but I'll tell you as to why I would do that, and I don't believe it's hypocrisy. Is that by the time that level of criticism comes around, you're 2 and a bit years into a manager, his system, his training methods, and his development of your players. So of course, after 2 years of some really good moments and some trophies, but loads of downs and no progression, actual regression in the league, you're going to be more frustrated than an interim manager in his second game who's helping us through a little crisis period before the new guy arrives. But I will never have the same energy for any manager on game week 2, whether they're interim or permanent, as I did for a manager over 24 months into his job. So for me personally, that's why it's completely and utterly different. It's a completely different scenario. And I think the differentials are gargantuan.
The issue I have with that, Terry, respectfully again, and I love these debates, but the reason I have an issue with that is because Man United fans have been, in my opinion, then poorly, obviously analysing games just because they're pissed at a manager. Because there have been games in this season and previous seasons where it has not been on a manager. And if the Amorim comes in and we start to perform like this again, we're going to be going down the same route. And I'm just sitting here I'm sitting back observing how we're analysing teams. Because if the same thing is happening, but there's 2 different managers in place. And again, I'm not saying Ruud van Nistelrooy is wrong for trying to set up a low block. I think he's got 4 games. So let's just get this out of the way first and foremost. Ruud van Nistelrooy only has 4 games. I have no expectation of him other than to try and get results and not change things too tough. I get that. Yeah. That's not an issue. So again, you guys know I can be very, very honest. That's not my issue here. My main issue here is the simple fact that when we're analysing our club, our football, it seems to me that it's so easily to get trapped in this notion that everything is manager based, and it's been, forget Ten Hag, it's been like that for the past 11 years. So it gets to a certain level, regardless of manager. If Amorim comes in here and we carry on this same BS, in my opinion, BS, and the reason I call it BS is because if we analyse fairly, some of these players need criticising more than managers.
But Sunshine, this is the thing, right? I understand where you're coming from, but I really do think, I'm going to be blunt, I think I'm the wrong target. And I'll tell you what, or the show's the wrong target. I don't think we can sit here and...
I'm not even trying to target, I'm just highlighting what
I'm saying is, I don't think the Football Terrace is the sort of birthing ground where it's only ever been the manager here that's been blamed. I mean, me personally, although I think Ten Hag should have gone, my biggest call out in the last 11 years has been the way the club's run. It's never been players or the manager. I think it's the structure of the football club. I understand exactly where you're coming from. And some people do just have manager agendas and they never want to blame certain players. Some people, though, just have player agendas and all they do is go after those individual players. And I think it is about being fair and balanced. But I look at today and I see a team that was in a good shape, a team that was hard to break down. And I've said this for years. That is the base of any football team. Being hard to beat is step one. And we saw that this team had the capability of doing it. So therefore, the excitement comes in. The new head coach will be in here. If we can become hard to beat, then we start playing better football. Then I'm going to start to be more concerned about the cherry on top of the cake, which is putting the ball into the back of the net. I would rather build it that way. That's just me personally. As I say, though, I understand your frustrations. I was annoyed with Garnacho today. KJ was kicking chairs when he missed chances. Like, we're not sitting here saying that we're not frustrated, but we're just talking overall. And I just don't think it's healthy for a Man United fan to be reviewing this game in the same way you would the permanent head coach 2 to 2.5 years into their time at the football club. But look, I do appreciate where you're coming from. Griggs is here with us as well. What are you saying, mate?
I'm not gonna lie, that game was boring. It's as simple as that. Anytime the season starts right in August, they might as well just start Chelsea United off with 2 points because all we do is play draws. It's literally just a draw every single year. There's no point in even playing out the game. Performance wise, United played pretty okay. It wasn't good. It wasn't shit. I think it was. I'm not gonna lie. It's very similar to what a Ten Hag performance would have been. I don't think there was a difference between what Ten Hag would have done and what Ruud would have done. The only difference is maybe the player intensity. That's maybe the only difference. Maybe players were trying a little bit harder and stuff like that. It's the same issues. Garnacho gets into a boatload of opportunities in terms of chances. Can't convert his dinner. The guy can't strike a ball cleanly. The only time that he had a good shot was that little slice that he had that I think went a little bit over the crossbar. The other chance, the left footer, gotta do better there. Just kick the right at Sanchez. And then that one that he fluffed where Bruno laid it off to him, that's an abysmal shot. Absolutely abysmal shot. And I don't understand. I don't care that Ruud is a manager, whether Ten Hag is a manager. I don't understand how this guy gets 90 minutes every single match day. I don't understand how he gets 90 minutes every single match day. He's not held to any sort of accountability. And I just don't. I'm not saying he's trash, even though I do think this guy is not starter level at Man United. I don't think he'll ever be. I think there's too many limitations to his game. Yes, he's threatening. He'll get into good positions, but so does Timo Werner. Yeah, we call him shit. What's the difference? You can get into all the good positions you want, but if at the end of the day, yes, he has a bunch of GA this year, yeah, but let's be real, most of it is in the cup competitions. In Premier League matches, he's had a couple good moments, but consistent level is not there. I do think there's a lot of limitations. And I also don't understand, I'm not trying to gas up Rashford too much, but I don't understand why we're shifting Rashford to the right wing in order to accommodate an inferior player on the left-hand side. Because Rashford today, the first 1v1 that he had on the left-hand side, he sent Gusto back to France. He chopped him up, went down the byline, created a decent opportunity that didn't amount to anything. But still, the intent was there. Anytime Garnacho got the ball 1v1 on the left-hand side, Reece James was comfortable, Malo Gusto was comfortable. Whoever was on at right back, he wasn't able to do anything there. So I don't understand from that perspective. Midfield, defensively, they were good. The intensity was there. Ugarte and Casemiro were able to read the play well. Passing, though, no one really expected them to be anything good passing-wise, but the first-time passes, just not good enough. I do think we missed a deep-line playmaker in this game. Obviously, Eriksen's injured. Kobe Mainoo's injured, so I'm not asking you to play a youth kid in this game. It is what it is. They did a decent enough job, and against, in my opinion, a superior midfield in Caicedo and Lavia and Palmer. Yeah. That I was worried about that midfield today, and for the most part, Cole Palmer obviously had a couple nice little touches that he was able to break through, but for the most part, they were nullified. Defensively, other than Dalo, I think we're really good. I think Dalo was the worst defender we had today. I think Mazraoui was my man of the match. I think he was absolutely impeccable. Madueke couldn't get his game off at all. I think Mazraoui defensively is much better than I ever anticipated because everyone kept talking about his technical ability at Ajax and Bayern Munich, but the guy is like a magnet when it comes to winning a tackle because everyone thought that we were going to downgrade defensively from going from Wan-Bissaka to Mazraoui, but in my opinion, Mazraoui is a much more intelligent defender than Wan-Bissaka. He doesn't really go to his feet that much. The standing tackles, impeccable. Licha, my opinion, was probably Lisandro Martinez's best Premier League game of the season. I thought like he did a really good job against a tough striker in Jackson. Didn't really get dominated early. The passing was okay. I thought De Ligt, other than the one mistake he had where he slipped on that Enzo chance that Jackson was able to lay it off to Enzo, that Enzo missed, he was pretty solid. And yeah, Dalo was bad. Højlund did a decent job. I thought in the first half, he had a couple opportunities where he had the ball in space and he was carrying it and he didn't release it at the right times or he kept it too long. I thought he should have done better there. But I disagree with taking him off for Xerxes. I'm not going to lie with Josh for Xerxes. I don't see it. I don't see much. I think intensity-wise, he's not fit for the Premier League. He lets the game go past him way too easily. And when I look at the coach that's coming in Amorim, I don't see him working out. I do see us shipping him back to Serie A within the next 12 months. I'm not going to lie. I look at Amorim and I look at the striker he uses in Gyökeres and for Sporting. I look at Højlund. I'm not saying Højlund's better than him, but the profile is there. And I think United, in my opinion, in 12 months' time, might be looking for another striker because I know Neji is a big advocate for like new forwards because our forwards can't finish their dinner to save their life. And I agree with him on that. We do need more forwards. And it's not just a striker. We need a left winger. We need another one. That is a priority, especially when I look at Amorim's, or it doesn't have to be a direct left winger. It could be like a left inside 10, that kind of a wing fielder, whatever you want to do. Whether you want to go like a Xavi Simons, if Madrid end up signing Florian Wirtz, Arda Güler might be available, that kind of stuff. We need to refresh that forward line because other than Højlund, and maybe we'll see how Amorim has with Rashford. I look at our forwards, obviously Ahmad as well, but we'll see. Well, with Ahmad, it's always a what if. Will the coach like him? Will he not? We don't know yet. Theoretically, you think that the coach, based on the way he plays, will like Ahmad, but you never know. But United need new forwards, and they first of all also they need new wing backs. I know I saw a super chat earlier about Mazraoui at wing back. I don't think Mazraoui is a wing back for me. I think he's too passive in the final third. He's not the type of guy that will put the cross in when you need him to. I think he's technically gifted, and the 1-2s in defense to break the lines is amazing. But when we're talking wing backs, we're talking about final third killers. We're talking about the Theo Hernandez of the world. We're talking about Alphonso Davies of the world. I don't think Mazraoui is that. So United need a left wing back, whether that's going and get someone high profile or going to Benfica and activating that buyback clause if it actually exists for Laura Fernandez. We never should have sold in the first place. So the Amorim stuff, United have a lot of work to do. The squad can fit a back three, but there is also a lot of money to be spent. I think midfield, you need quality. I think defense, you're getting another center back because you're now playing with 3 center backs. And let's be real, we have the 3 starting center backs right now, but I think you could obviously do a lot better.
Yeah, we need a lot. We need a lot more. But let's bring it back. You said a lot, and some of you agree, some of you disagree. But in terms of Garnacho, you asked why does he get played 90 minutes? And listen, I want him to get taken off more. I prefer him on the right than into the left. I do think Rashford has been our best attacker this season, and he should be in his preferred position. And he should be in the positions where Garnacho is, because he actually will score goals. I completely agree. But in terms of the question, why does he get 90 minutes? All I can say is maybe the coaches are thinking, because he's always relentless, because he's in terms of mentality, he never stops, he keeps going. They believe that he will eventually do something good, win the game to win you the game. And you know, he's got that moment in him to do that. We saw it in the Community Shield where he pops up with a goal. And in other games where he just come out of nowhere and he's the one that's scoring goals. That's the only reason why I think he's there for 90 minutes. I don't personally agree, but that's it. He's not trash, like people are trying to say. He's not a terrible player. I just think this is where my point, AG, that's why I put it in. I just think he needs help and he needs coaching to show him how to be better and how to develop into the player that we hope he can be, which is a starter, which is a constant threat, which is a goal getter, which is a goal scorer. And right now, he needs to be taken out of the spotlight.
What do you mean by that? Sorry, in what areas? Because again, I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be an arsehole. I'm just going to be direct to ask you a question if I can. When you say coaching his style, are you talking regarding his finishing or his runs? Because all I saw was a few misplaced, like literally, Ahmad right at the end was open, slide him in. To me, I don't think that needs coaching. The finishing was absolutely abysmal. I don't know how much elite coaching you need at Manchester United to improve those. So what do you mean, like in that area, he just needs those things? Do you think that's going to improve with this new manager?
No, because he needs guidance in when to shoot, how to shoot, what kind of opportunities. Like, I think decision making can be coached. If you've got a system set and you're getting told by the coach, when you're in this position, you have option A and option B, and option B is actually a really good one, and you need to do that more, you will start to see things improve. So when you say he needs coaching, it's not like he needs a whole new legs, you know what I mean, a whole new way of playing. He just needs to be taught how to shoot, when to shoot, and when to pass.
Listen, I think the problem is with a lot of this analysis, and I don't think Griggs is wrong. Like, a lot of it's your opinion and fair play. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. But I think you're spot on with a lot of it. But this is why I worry about Amorim, because we all knew before Ruud become interim, we all knew before the season began, we all knew before we announced Amorim that this squad still needs to be 60 to 70% of it needs to go in the next 2 years. So the fact we already know this, it's almost like if Garnacho is one of the players that isn't good enough, let's just agree that he isn't. Until we get to the transfer windows and can replace him, it becomes almost boring going on about it and going on about it and going on about it. We know that these changes need to come. The most important thing for us to focus on in the short term is being hard to break down and hard to beat. And a comment came through saying, Terry, you are the only fan that does not think scoring goals is not a priority. No, Sir Alex Ferguson agrees with me. Scoring goals wins you games. Great defenses wins you titles. So the greatest football manager of all time agrees with Terry Flewers that being hard to beat is the first priority. Having a structure that 2 passes doesn't undo every 5 minutes is the priority, in my humble opinion. I agree. We need to add better attackers. We've got to add better midfielders. I'm never going to sit there and disagree, but I'm not even focusing on that, because that, for me, is the fine furnishings you put in your new house. We are digging the fucking footings, boys. We're digging the footings here. And I think some of the analysis is too early for where we are. Like Man United are still at the early stages of a genuine rebuild. And I understand criticizing the players that are not good enough. I'm never going to push back against that. But this is what I worry about for Amorim. Back to the first point, is what's going to happen? People that love Ten Hag are going to be so harsh on him to begin with, and they're going to try and throw him under a bus because to prove that it was never my favorite manager. And I worry it's going to take years. It's going to be ups and downs. We are not going to be at Liverpool, at City's, at Madrid's level just because Amorim's a good coach. Equally, I do think individual players will improve with. This is what makes me laugh. Everyone rips into Ten Hag's coaching, his man management, his system. But then when we say, I think some of our players will improve if the system is better and the managing's better, people go, well, no, that won't happen either. Then why did we sack the manager? Then I just get a little confused, not by yourselves individually.
I think it's obviously sack the manager because both go hand in hand, Terry. And this is the thing. No one's sitting here saying Ten Hag didn't deserve to get sacked. But there was other elements that were always being missed because it became about the manager. And that's the issue. Me personally, I can only talk for myself. I know you say it's a short term talking about goals later on. That makes sense. But I have to then take you back to memory lane when I even said to you on multiple times, Ten Hag in his first season got the defense bang on. You build from that, you add goals to it. And I got laughed at again because man then wanted big changes quick. And I thought, it's not going to take time. Your words, as you just said, you've got to build slowly. We needed to add goals a long time ago just to that great defense that we had. Then you start to change up the complicated stuff. We haven't done that. We've gone too far back. Ten Hag's ultimately sacked himself. Amorim's going to have to come in here, and yes, he's going to have to coach and give them a style of play where we can potentially create even more chances per game. But these players, as we know, whether it's a Bruno, whether it's Rashford, whoever you want to name it is in that front line, they need to start bagging one way or another. Because otherwise, what will happen, and I'll predict it again, if we don't start bagging the goals, the confidence will go down in the manager. The fan base will start turning because we're not getting results because of the goals. And then we're back to square one where we're like, raw, what do we do now? I don't want that for my new manager.
Why if you bag goals, you're bagging goals, but you got keep losing because you get outscored?
Say again?
Why if you keep bagging goals, but you keep losing games because you're getting outscored and you can't keep a clean sheet?
Well, I can't remember the last time that ever happened for us personally. But again,
yeah, but like in general.
But like I said, I wouldn't back that.
See, the thing is, though, AG, I don't disagree with that point you've made because our fans are like that. But where I'm frustrated is the new manager ain't even here yet. I don't understand the negativity today. The new man ain't even here.
It's not about being. It's not about. It's about me personally. Okay, it may come across negative because I'm not jumping on this bandwagon that we were defensively great. Maybe I should have started with that. I can highlight it, Terry. We defensively were much better. We nullified Chelsea. That's why I disagreed with Steve when he said because Chelsea didn't finish. No, we stopped you from scoring. I get that, but in the honor of consistency with our team, forget manager, players, or whatever. Winning, I want results. So I'm being consistent for myself. I want results. I've been bagging for that for longest. And right now, defensively, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, before this game, 11 goals conceded in the league. That tells me defensively we've been okay, not great, but okay. We're tied with Man City and Arsenal. So I want to win results. So what's the next step, Terry, after you get this solid defense? You go and bag goals.
No, I wouldn't disagree with that. But this whole conversation started with us being told we're glorifying a player that was rubbish today, and that didn't happen on this show. It just didn't happen.
Again, I took the word back in glorifying and I did take it back for you because again, I'm not trying to overhype the situation. Yes, I used the word glorifying. What I'm basically saying is he's been let off, and in the hope that he must have just done great stuff today, and we're okay with the chances he's missing. That's how it came across. Like, we're okay with the chances he missed. He didn't get brought up.
I understand that. Boys, look, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to both of you. Good challenge as always. We're going to get back to some of these super chats, gentlemen, and we're going to speak to you both again soon. Cheers, boys.
Love.
Thank you very much indeed, gents. Viewers, make sure like buttons have been hit. We're going to get some of these super chats up that have come through here. Worst game all season, above scary Arsenal, is what Dyke says here. Listen, we were actually saying this, weren't we, during the game, that some people were tweeting saying it's a really bad game. We were actually watching it, and we quite enjoyed it. Maybe it's the company you keep. Maybe when you watch groups, and this is not even a dig. Maybe if I was watching it at home, I'd have got really angry. Maybe because I'm here with the boys and we're having fun, it felt different. I don't know. But this is the thing. We all got frustrated at things our team did wrong, but there's also things I was impressed with. But again, I get it. It wasn't the result some people wanted. Terry, you take out us holding the ball. Chelsea win the game. but we hold the ball so damn long. It's in our own half. If we was more energetic, we beat United. I think we stopped you. I think you got the ball into good areas. And do you know what happened? We were speaking about it during the game. So I wish we were doing a watch along, because then people would have seen it. There were times where you broke the line. And then there was a time where Palmer broke the line. And he's running through it, De Ligt. And De Ligt starts backing off. But then he stops. And he forces Palmer into making the decision, and he makes him make a mistake, and he wins the ball back. There were times where you got the ball into the wide areas, and it was 1v1. The amount of times we were screaming, oh, look, Deleu's 1v1 against Neto, and he handled him. The amount of times Noni Madueke literally sized up Mazwari, and Mazwari stopped him. That isn't Chelsea doing bad. It's Man United stopping you. If we were shooting today and it was going in the top corner and Sanchez was dragging it out, is that bad finishing or good goalkeeping? I call it outstanding goalkeeping. We stopped Chelsea from attacking. We suffocated the areas and the space from them. The only reason people are reacting like this is because they just are not used to seeing Man United be good defensively for nearly 90 minutes. We haven't done it for 2 years.
It's not. It's a bit of that, and I think Neji said it as well. And I think it's a reason why both sides, if someone's really annoyed that they're angry, they just really wanted to batter the opposition. Like Chelsea fans really wanted this win. I think some United fans really wanted this win. So I think it's
No, I get that
as well.
United 13th and happy, Chelsea 4th and pissed. Now, listen, the thing is, people. I know what Standard FC was. Standards are on the floor. They're not on the floor. But I believe in the direction. This is the thing, right? I believe in the direction that we are going in. You know, it's like this. Imagine you're hard up, not got a lot of money. You know, got enough for a couple of meals for next week, but you just landed a job. And you know this job's going to pay well and you're going to be okay. That's how I feel right now. I believe the future is bright. So although things aren't great today, I believe the direction is going to be great. So I can take a day like today. Now, again, if we play like this for the next 6 months, drawing, missing chance, I'll criticize it. But I think we're going to get better. That's why I view it differently, I suppose. Go back to my super chat, which you hid. I didn't hide your super chat, mate. What are you talking about? That's from the bill. Caicedo starts for everyone in the Premier League. You are 13th. Yes, we are 13th. We know that, but we will finish hiding that. And I agree with your point about Caicedo. This walking at the back, holding the ball more than 5 seconds to 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Maresca's got to cut that out in his own half. It's infuriating to watch move the ball.
Yeah, I hear that a little bit, to be honest with you. I think there were moments in that game where I feel like Chelsea had the opportunity to transition a lot quicker than they did. And I think that's the point that was being made previously about where Chelsea are holding onto the ball a little bit too long, limits us in terms of hitting Manchester United a little bit quicker on the counter-attack, turning that into an attack versus defence situation a lot quicker. And ultimately, I just think Maresca's actually going to go more towards slowing the game down and having control rather than seeing the sort of style we saw under Pochettino last season, which was ultimately moving the ball from defence to attack as quick as we could. And I think the way this Chelsea team's been built, I don't actually think its strength lies in the way Maresca wants to play football at this moment in time in some areas. I think we've struggled when we've had control of a game to break down lower blocks. And today was an opportunity for us to actually have a game based around some really good transitions. And at times, yes, I agree, Chelsea got their ball to the players that are a little bit more creative, a little bit too slowly, but also further up the pitch and a bit more advanced, which Terry's touched on a lot. Manchester United were incredibly good at making sure their players remained in the right position and defensively forced Chelsea into making a decision, which led to mistakes.
A lot of people watching football at the moment would have absolutely hated Man United versus Chelsea sort of between sort of 06 and about 2010. Our games were like this a lot. Low scoring, both teams nullifying each other and making it hard. And that's when two teams tend to play quite well.
And that's when like a player of Wayne Rooney's quality or something would light the game up.
And that's what was missing today. Yeah. Well, not for you guys at Caicedo. All what was missing today, ironically, because United were criticised about this for so long. What was missing today was a moment of individual brilliance. Now, what's crazy, imagine this game is exactly the same. But Garnacho scores the one that Bruno cut back to him.
Or Rashford scores that one that hit the bar.
So he scores that one and Rashford scores his long shot and we win 3-1. Everyone would go, oh, we're back. It would be exactly the same performance. But so for me, I want those two finishes. However, the only way you're going to become consistent is with the baseline of your performance. And what I'm a little bit frustrated with when I'm looking at a lot of the comments from people that are angry is that all I've heard from many of those people, Sunshine isn't one of them, is I want hard to break down, solid performances. I want the patterns of play. I want us to be able to open teams up. As long as I've got that, I'm going to be happy. You get a little bit more of that. We didn't score the goals. I'm still pissed off. And I'm like, okay, it's one game. Like, slow down a little bit. It's crazy. Because Nabil actually says here, Sunshine is absolutely right. Nothing's changed.
Well, but the thing is,
nothing's changed. It's been a week. Nothing's changed.
That's crazy. Yeah, okay, nothing's changed. Cool. But what do you expect Ruud to do? What are people expecting Ruud to be doing here? What are we expecting him to be like? Right, he's gonna get us playing silky football that's close to Amarim's, even though he's never worked with Amarim before in his life. Switch to the back three, drop all the players I don't like, bring in all the youth. Like, Ruud has done the job that he's supposed to do, which is make things steady, make us don't lose games, and try and win. And we've won one and drew one against a better team.
And
now,
he gave you opportunities in this game to one, remain in it, and two, have opportunities to win that game of football, right?
And you know what's different as well? I'll be quick. If this was Ten Hag, we get the penalty, we score. We concede that beautiful volley from Caicedo. We would have lost that game because the heads would have dropped. The heads didn't drop.
There's all
and we actually should have went on.
There is all of that. And again, people like to call stuff out. And I know we've been called hypocrites on this show, which is fine. People can say that. But what have I been saying about Chelsea for about the last 2 months as a case in point? The performances, the structures there. There's just individual players that need to be improved on. So if Man United play like this now every week, in terms of hard to break, but create the chances, but miss the opportunities, it's not the perfect position to be in, but it's a much easier one to resolve. You just buy better players. Until you have the consistency of performance as opposed to the output and the result, it's so hard to pinpoint the problems in your team. You can't hold on to the ball. If you can't create, I mean, how do you even get to working out who your good finishers are if you don't create the chances regularly enough?
Right.
And I think that's what's kind of being missed in this conversation by a lot of people, in my opinion. This here says Ten Hag's Ajax has beaten Amarim's Sporting in both the Champions League. It's not tactical. Personnel is the problem here. Wingers don't track back, leaving the CDMs isolated and overrun on counters.
That's not true for today because Rashford.
I mean, look, we know that Ten Hag's team beat Amarim's team, but we've seen Ten Hag beat Pep. So, I mean, what does this mean?
Ten Hag's Manchester United never looked like Ten Hag's Ajax.
So
that's another
conversation.
Yeah,
that's another one, but he's getting a lot of love today, Ten Hag, after he's been sacked.
It's crazy.
I'm sorry, but Ten Hag needs to go. I'm still waiting for fans to look at the common denominator for these kind of performances. We will be managed out. We will be managed out again. Listen, but it's. I think it's Man United and the bill. I think I get where he's coming from. We need to change the culture at the club, but again, that takes time. We can't. I don't understand this, right? The manager had to go. He's making fundamentally poor mistakes. Look at our last 2 games, performances, structure. Ten Hag could have got us playing in a way that's hard to beat. Could have done it. Sunshine also. You agreed with Sunshine already, Nabil, and he had us playing that way in his first season. He abandoned that. No one is disagreeing that these players have got to be changed as well. This is what I don't like about the conversation. We're all in agreement on it. Why is the challenge there? Yeah. I don't understand.
I think people are just angry because Ruud's come in and shown up Ten Hag in 2 games.
But I think that was always inevitable because
that's what it is.
Every Manchester United fan that I spoke to could see the obvious things that needed to change. And Ruud van Nistelrooy is the person that's come in and gone, yeah, we should actually try that.
Yeah.
Defensively, let's get a structure in place. Because how many times have you seen Chelsea? Okay, not that it will happen today, but there would be an opportunity last year that Chelsea could have broke through that Manchester United midfield and then they'd be all over the place. Or defensively, they'd be faced up against your defenders and they'd be panicking and there'd be panic stations and you'd have players swapping all over each other and the back 4 wouldn't have been flat and ready to be there defensively today like it was.
Yeah.
Ruud set it up in that way to manage that game and keep you in it.
And all I want from Ruud in these 4 games, I would love 4 wins. We're not going to get them, but I just want to be hard to beat. On a bit of confidence coming back into the players. Again, I don't want him drilling them into a brand new, complicated system just for the new head coach 3 days later to go, scrap that. We've got this one now. I don't know what people expected, to be fair. Chelsea's biggest issue I see is corners. No one gets a header or anything. They need to really work on their poor corners. Again, though, Nav, I thought you delivered some balls into some really good places, but who got to the balls first? Man United. I'm praising my team for that. Like, some of those balls went in, and again, this is why I think when you watch football with people, it's different. We're like, oh, Oh, because it's going into a dangerous area.
Yeah.
I don't know what people were watching personally. This wasn't Chelsea at its best. We let United get off the hook. The system was working. Gusto was in great positions.
Yes.
We need to be more clinical. Maresca thinks he's the Leicester manager, played for a draw, and there was miles of space to be direct and score. United was awful, struggling team, 2 points gone.
He didn't play for the
No, I
draw.
don't think
He
he played
knew
for
what
the
would
draw.
happen if
Yeah.
he just went gone home. Like Man United still have good players.
I love this comment from Gav. Hope you well, Gav. He says, Man United playing like Wimbledon. We lacked our edge or speed, too static, lacked angles, nonchalant at the back too. Point is better than last season. Joe, Gav, I think there's some elements of truth to the way you played. I do. However, this is what part of new manager bounce is about. It's no one has any idea how Ruud's going to set us up because there's no case on point for it.
So
There's-
I heard before this that Maresca didn't know whose footage to watch, either Ruud van Nistelrooy's previous stuff or Amarim's stuff, because he had no idea what would be implemented today. And that makes it a very difficult fixture to navigate.
And also, everyone knows that you don't play the same style of football in England as you do in the Eredivisie. So therefore, no one has any idea what Ruud is going to do. That's why new manager bounce. Yes, there's the euphoria, but new manager bounce is more. It's like when you sometimes get young players burst onto the scene that no one's ever seen before, youngsters. No one knows what they're good and bad at. No one knows their weaknesses. So they're harder sometimes to mark and how to, he doesn't like being roughed up. Some players love it and it makes them better. It's when all these little bits of information get figured out, that's when it becomes harder for you. It's why players sometimes burst onto the scene and look amazing, and then they look like they regress. But it's actually people just work out what they're good and bad at. It's not a red because it was similar to Bruno's, which was rescinded. Some people are saying it's not a red because there was a slip in there. So maybe that's true. Maybe that makes sense. It was a slow and scrappy game from first minute to the 90th. How that wasn't a pen check for a dive. Again, it wasn't a penalty. What I did think was a penalty, though, and I need to see a closer replay, is I thought Rashford got fouled in the first half. I thought the studs at his ankle. That's what the camera looked like, but for some reason,
Is he trying to say Hoyland's
was a dive.
was it? Hey, Dave, my guy, man, your head's gone.
I love Nav. He's a great dude. I disagree, Terry. Every movement was slow from us. Again, that's what happens when your lines and your angles get cut off, though. It's like shit where I passed to. So that's why it got slowed down. I think Man United did a great job. Ten Hag's Ajax. That's right. Already done that super chat. Thank you. But let's get started. Already done that one too. Youngest Premier League team ever. Factually, new manager in his second year in England. United fought so well, and scary Arsenal are below us. Chill is what Jimmy says there. But we never did enough. Enzo benched should have played. Oh, sorry, already done that super chat there. And Joshua Jack here says a deserved point, but the lack of composure in front of goal from us, especially towards the end, is ridiculous. I like Garnacho, but stop being a ball hog and pass it multiple times. He ruined the shape.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah, we agree with that. We were talking about that one where he could have used the low on the overlap, and he ends up turning around.
And then Casemiro committed a foul, got yellow, and you thought he was cussing the ref.
Yeah.
But I said, he's cussing Garnacho.
You've got too much experience watching Garnacho.
And he's absolutely right to call him out, because I think it was an absolute that was very poor from him, and he made some mistakes there and deserves to be criticised. And what I hope happens now that we really move into the new realm under Ineos with the new head coach is that these players, like, I think Garnacho's talented. I think there's a player in there. But if I'm wrong and that player doesn't emerge, and we get towards the end of the season and he's still missing all these abundance of guiltless chances, then you look to replace him. And for me, I don't care. It's about the club winning. However, the only thing I think me and Sunshine disagree on is I think Sunshine, it's just score the goals, win no matter what. For me, I need to see the baseline of performance and the consistency around it, because I believe that's the only way we're ever going to win major trophies again. And without that being there, everything else, again, I need the house built, the structure built before I go out and put the fine furnishings in. But we will see. Look, viewers, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I know we had a few mic errors at the beginning. I think we sorted that out throughout the show, so hopefully that sounded a little bit better. But we are going to soundproof this room a little bit. I'm going to decorate it as well, which we're very, very excited about. But look, I want to thank you all for tuning in, as ever. Please hit the like button before you go. This is going to, I think this is going to redirect you. I don't know if the redirect has been set up.
I haven't had time to do that.
We might not have done it. I assume it's going to be to MHF. Let me just check if they've got a stream set up. They probably have. Yes, they do. So this is going to take you to Mo and Hassan's channel. This is going to redirect you. So make sure you get yourselves over there. Until next time, everybody, look after yourselves. Gentlemen, by the way, thank you very much for being in here. Javerna as well on the controls, legend. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.